Hello and welcome to Mississauga Life and Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Jaffrey, joined by my trusty co-host, Alex Stakic. Alex, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for asking, Sean. How about you today?
Hey, not bad, man. I can't complain. Like I said, like when the weather is good, we're good. We're expecting, we're in the minus 15, I think the low today, and a minus 16 tomorrow. So it's not bad. I'm not going to complain, right? It's not minus 30, minus 40. So I'm good, man. We got some very interesting, sorry?
Used to that weather, definitely.
Yes. So we have some very interesting things to talk about today. We're primarily going to be talking about land title fraud because it's been in the news. A lot of people have been talking about it. It was raising alarm bells for a lot of homeowners because they're like, hey, if this can happen in Toronto, is our property safe? So first off, let's start off by discussing what exactly is land title. Like what do you understand land title to be?
Yeah, actually, land title means very simple. Who is the owner of the property or land, right? And
Correct.
It should be registered, and usually it's registered the same day during the transaction. So not only
Correct.
land title or liens are registered immediately or in one day.
Exactly. Yes.
So it shows very, very good transparency.
Yes.
To purchaser.
Yes.
And to seller understanding.
When we do transactions, like when we do purchase of sale or offers for purchase of sale, there is a section in there it's in there by default that allows for a land title search date before possession. Normally, I don't know what you do, but normally I put in 2 weeks prior to possession is when we do the land title search. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So what we're doing at that point.
You have to give time even to lawyer to review everything, because it's not probably only your deal. He's dealing with other deals as well and should be aware and sure that everything is smooth and everything is legit. So this is absolutely right.
So the reason why we're doing land title search 2 weeks before possession is because we want to make sure that whatever they had on the property, let's just say they had some sort of lien on the property because, I don't know, they purchased a car or an AC or something and they took a loan against the house. It could be anything, number of things. But the point is that we're making sure that whatever they have against the house, any liens, any encumbrances, all been taken care of. So 2 weeks before possession, the lawyer is going to do a search on the title and just say it's a clear title, we're good to close, right? So that's what a title is. The problem or the reason why land titles are being discussed in the news right now is because of land title fraud. Right.
Yes.
And what's happening is that people are finding out that somebody took out, a loan against their home using, their IDs and all that stuff against the title. And either they took a loan and put a lien against the house or they sold the house. Right. Pretending to be these people. Yeah. Do you have any insight onto how that can actually happen? How can somebody steal your house without you even knowing, or sell your house without you even knowing? How is that possible?
Forging the documents.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're basically, I mean, I did some research into this and it's like you can make a movie on this stuff because you need some very high paid actors to do all this stuff. Right?
Absolutely.
So you need a guy. So first of all, the organization of people who's kind of commandeering this operation, they're not the ones who get involved directly. Right? They hire a guy, the guy hires another guy, right? Who will act like the homeowner. So they're going to have ID, they're going to change the names and the date of birth and all that stuff on it. They're going to forge all the other documents. So this actor is going to go into the bank. He's going to go deal with a real estate agent. He's going to go into the lawyer's office with all of the documentation, and he's going to act like the person who's actually the real owner of the property. And he's going to go ahead.
That means that everybody is interconnected in the system. And now the question is, okay, it's happening, right? And we already had, I think, 2 cases in the last 2 or 3 months. And people are really afraid. So question is...
That's 2 cases in Toronto. I think in all of Canada, there was multiple. There was 20, 30 cases like that. Yeah.
Question is how to prevent happening that over and over and over again, because we saw the problem. So what is a cure for that problem, right?
So let me just get into a little bit more into detail about how this problem happens, right? So yeah, they are taking and selling people's homes, but one of the ways this is happening, and you might be in this situation, is that you have a tenanted property, right? You have tenants in there, and maybe you didn't do the proper check. Maybe they're paying with cash or something, and they're just living there. And maybe your mail is going to your previous property, right? Maybe you renewed your driver's license, and it ends up there.
Yeah.
They take it and they say, hey, it never came here, or whatever the case is. And typically you're looking at properties that are either vacant, properties that have tenants living in them, or properties, and somehow these guys have access, they'll search to make sure that the property is completely paid off. Like there's no mortgage left on it, so they can take loans against it and do other things like that. So those are your type of properties that you have to kind of be aware of that typically end up in a fraud situation like this. But other properties also end up in fraud situations. So now, to your question, what can you do to prevent it?
Yeah.
The number one thing that anybody can do if you want to avoid your property being sold without your knowledge is to get title insurance, right?
Yes.
There's a reason why they have title insurance for situations just like this. It's not very expensive. It's anywhere from $300 to $500, I believe, for title insurance. When you purchase a property, your lawyer will work out the details. They'll get it for you, and it gives you that peace of mind. So now, look, let's just say you didn't have title insurance, right? And something like this did happen to you. I mean, legally, you're fine because you didn't do anything wrong. Somebody used your documents, and it's a crime, right? So somebody did a crime against you, and sooner or later, you're probably going to get your property back, or whatever the loan was. You don't have, but you have to go through a lot of, you have to go through the courts, you have to go through lawyers, you have to do all these things just to make sure your name is cleared, and that process could take some time, right?
Of course.
Why give yourself that headache? Just get title insurance. It's a one-time thing that you pay, right? And you're not paying it monthly or yearly. You're paying it once, and you're covered.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
I mean, that's the number one thing I would say that you would do is get title insurance. Right?
I agree. Absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah. Even, especially in our brokerage, because it's so high-tech company, now if you know that for sure, we are forced, and I think it's a good thing, that all FinTrack documents cannot be done anymore manually and typing. Everything should be scanned online. So even when you make a photo of ID, everything in the backup system will immediately check, is this driving license and biometric meeting the requirements? Is it true ID or not? So this is additional layer of security that person really exists, and biometric elements of the ID are matching with everything in the database. So, this is real owner or his real landlord, whatever, and gives you as a realtor, if you're with good and honest intentions, additional layer of security that everything is in perfect shape, right?
100%. So all those things, all those measures that we take into effect to prevent stuff like this, those are all good. Despite you having the best sort of systems in place, mortgage fraud can still, not mortgage fraud, title insurance fraud or title fraud can still happen.
Yes.
Because as our systems, our defensive systems get advanced and very, very smart, so do the bad guys. They know what's going on. It's like no matter how advanced your car, safety feature, your security features get, they always find a way. Right?
Absolutely.
They use technology. Yeah, their tools just keep improving. So we just kind of have to stay one step ahead of the game. So land title theft is not a huge problem if you've got land title insurance. The problem that I can foresee kind of happening, if these guys become very, very, and real, this is just being honest with you, if they become very, very complex and very, very advanced in the way they do these thefts, there's going to be more and more of them happening, right? And then, yes, you've got insurance. That's fine. So you'll be covered. The insurance company will make sure that you don't have to pay anything. But because there's more and more happening, I think the cost of getting land title insurance is going to go up. Because from what I've read, from what I've gathered, those guys are getting smarter and they're doing more and more of this. Okay.
Yeah, because also, insurance companies will be facing with a higher level of risks, and premiums will be absolutely higher. This is very logical.
Correct.
Correct. Course of action.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I think that the economy is not doing that great, right now, right? I mean, we know that the interest rates are high. We have supply chain issues. Everything is expensive. I picked up groceries yesterday and got a raw chicken for $17, which I remember paying like $10 for, a raw chicken, and now it's like $17. So the point is that things are getting tough for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
People are going through hard times. And when that happens, we generally see an increase in crime, right? And I don't know if you're following the news, but like on the TTC, there's been so many incidents in the last month, like people getting beat up, bus drivers getting beat up, or somebody getting stabbed. So it looks like, we're in for crime to go up as a whole, and real estate or anything related to real estate is no exemption. We're going to get hit with it as well. People are going to look for alternative ways of making money, whether it's stealing cars or, stealing homes or whatever it is. So one thing I would suggest is for people who are concerned and just don't want to kind of go through, you don't even want to get to the point where somebody tried or attempted to take a loan against your house or try to sell your house. And then you have to go through all the headache to make sure your name is cleared and the title is clear and all that. If you don't want to get it to that point, one of the main things you can do is really, really keep all of your IDs, all of your personal information very, very safe. Don't let it go anywhere. Don't just give it out to people on emails, stuff like that. I mean, there's at times where, you might have to send it to somebody. Honestly, even that's a bit of a risk. I mean, we got to find ways where you can send information without it being without the risk of having them copied or duplicated by somebody else. And the reason I bring that up is because as realtors, what we'll do a lot of times is when we are, for example, we are giving an application for a rental property, right? So I recently helped somebody lease a home. It's very standard. They ask you for a driver's license.
Yes.
Right? So the landlord wants to make sure that I'm getting a proper person in here. I want to see the driver's license. So you've kind of opened yourself up, your personal information. But now how safe is that information in the hands of the landlord?
Yeah.
Right? Because that tenant one day is going to end up becoming a landlord as well, or not a landlord, but necessarily, but a homeowner. Yes. And that opens them up to that risk of this as well, that their IDs be shared to strangers and they don't know if it's going to be kept safe or not. So I guess, Alex, what I'm trying to say is that you can't avoid these things 100%, right?
No,
but take extra precaution. Right. I even read an article where the writer of the article was saying, every now and then, just go online and make sure your house isn't being sold. Just like, who has the time to do that?
Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely.
But yeah, just be preemptive. Take safety measures. Just don't do anything too risky. And hopefully we should be out of this. Hopefully we'll come up with better systems to make sure that people don't have to go through all this stress and headache of their property being sold off without their knowledge.
Yeah, and I'm really curious what will be the outcome after these sales and what will be the consequence at the end of the people who are in the chain, because everything will be revealed, definitely.
Yeah.
But we should be aware what's going on and what precaution measures should be taken. And from time, even I'm checking the title on my property from time to time to be sure it's still mine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like I said, going back to the number one thing you're supposed to do. So first of all, guys, getting land title insurance is not mandatory, right? It's up to you. But I would say that 99% of people end up getting it. So get it. It's a small cost. That's probably the best thing you can do.
Right? Absolutely. And
then secondary, keep your private information as private as possible. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely.
This is what the news has been about. It's not that complicated. It's very simple. A land title fraud has been around forever. That's why we have land title insurance. It's just that, in the recent past, we've had a little bit more. And I think as times get rough and people need more money, you're going to see crime go up. Unfortunately, that's the situation. That's the nature of the beast. But yeah, that's it. Simply just keep your information private as possible. You should be okay.
And I would like to add one thing more. This is from side of the soft skills. So if you remember, these properties were vacant for 3, 4, 5 months, right?
Yeah,
so
that happens.
If you are in the good relationship, if you have a good relationship with your neighbors, these neighbors will definitely let you know, call you, hi, what's going on? I've noticed some action. You're preparing your property for sale, or you sold. So it will be some red flag for you. Oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
And you will have instant information that something is going wrong at your home.
Yeah.
But probably these people were not in that situation. So try.
I
not
love
only
what
because
you
of
said.
this, not only because of this, on a daily basis, I think it's very normal. We should be empathic. We should help each other. We should treat our neighbors across the street, left and right from our property, in the best possible way, because they're your eyes.
Love what you're saying, because I think that I probably think this is probably the most important part about this podcast we're doing right now. This shouldn't really be the motivation to kind of keep in touch with your neighbors that they're watching your house. No, but it is a byproduct of having good relationships with your neighbors. I swear I've heard of stories where people have found out that their neighbor has passed away, and they had no idea that the body was rotting there for a week before the paramedics came or whatever it is.
Yes.
Keep in touch with your neighbors, guys. Talk to your neighbors. They're almost like family. You probably see them more than you see your own family, right?
Absolutely.
And watch out for each other. That's probably one of the best things you can do. Be good with your neighbors. I mean, Alex, I love the fact that you brought that up.
Yeah, because it's not only on daily basis. You can help each other. You never know when you need help, and maybe they will need help.
Yep.
Maybe your relatives are 100 kilometers, 200, 300 on different continent, but your neighbors should be closer to your neighbors, much closer than your any other friend, relative, or anybody else, right?
Yep.
And I like nurturing good relationship with my neighbors to have fun. For example, a few days back, I was shoveling snow on my driveway and my neighbor's driveway. They even were not aware. And next day they came, oh my God, thank you very much. No, it's good exercise for me, so why not?
Right. Yeah.
On the summertime, you will help me to have so amazing grass like you have, right?
Yeah.
So why not to help each other? We should nourish.
I'll tell you, interesting with my neighbor. Every time he's barbecuing, I'll just pop my head over the fence and be like, "What are you cooking?" Then he'll bring something over, and then he does the same thing when I'm barbecuing. So little things like that. Find common interests and have a relationship with your neighbors. It's probably the best thing you can do. Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, man. We're going to end on such an amazing note. And thank you for joining. I think that kind of wraps it up for us for this podcast. And we should have market numbers out for next week. Let's take a look at what happened in January.
Absolutely.
That will be coming up for the next podcast. Other than that, I hope you have a great week. As always, if you guys need anything, any questions answered, please feel free to write it in the comments section or reach out to us directly. We'd love to help you out. After all, this is all about community and nothing else. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Sean, for inviting on this such good topic, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Sounds good. All right, Alex.
See you,
buddy.
the best.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.